Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. I believe the biggest problem in leadership today is that we live in a world with TikTok attention spans, but every leadership problem we try to solve has a Harry Potter kind of an answer to it. That's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders. Stay tuned.
Master the StoryPower method to captivate your audience, improve workplace culture, and 10x your fundraising.
Scan the QR code to book your first coaching call or visit StoryPowerCoach.com.
Subscribe now for access to our extensive media library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom. Begin your personal growth plan at StoryPowerAcademy.com for leadership development and communication skills training.
I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. The first time I attended a Dale Carnegie course was 2004. And for the next 5 years, I coached the Dale Carnegie class. I sat in the back of the room and I helped people who are learning to go through the class. And I have to be honest, I'm a little slow sometimes. I'm a little thick. I don't pick up on things the same way that other people do. I have a strange observation pattern, if you will. And I kept reading this phrase in the Dale Carnegie book. I saw it over and over and over again, as much in the instructor manual and the coach's manual as I saw it in the actual class instruction. And the phrase was magic formula. Over and over and over, we talked about the magic formula. And I looked for the magic formula like I was going to find a recipe, like genuine alchemy, like right there on the page. If you'll add this to this, voila! I never found it. For years, we would talk about the magic formula. Use the magic formula. Apply the magic formula. I felt like Harry Potter without a wand. I got nothing. I never could figure it out. What kind of wizard am I? I cannot figure out what the magic formula is, much less how to apply it. I didn't know what to do with it. It took months. Months. I think I was probably in the third round of taking, coaching, teaching, training the Dale Carnegie course before it dawned on me that I was looking way too deep for the magic formula. The magic formula was so simple. It was so simple that when I discovered what it was, I felt like an idiot. I felt like, how could you have overlooked that all this time? How could it be that obvious and you didn't get it? Now, I'm going to be honest and tell you, there's a whole lot of leaders that I work with today that when I explain StoryPower to them the first time, they look at me almost kind of cross-eyed like, right. Like this guy's elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. They look at me like I have three heads. Because when I tell them how simple StoryPower is and yet how, when done well, it's extremely effective, they look at me like I did looking for the magic formula. They're like, there's got to be more to it than that. It really can't be that easy. Yeah, it actually is. There's no way you could make $1 million deal off of that. Yeah, you can. There's no way you could change your fundraising from 30K to 300K just by changing stories. You can. I mean, I have testimonials and evidence from clients that they've done it. There's no way it can be that simple. I'm way too intellectual for that. I'm way too intelligent for that. I have a client who's an MIT grad. Pretty intelligent guy. I have another one who's a Pepperdine grad, doctorate in law. Pretty intelligent guy. Several clients who are master's degrees in nursing and physicians and PhD researchers and THDs and doctorates of education and doctorates of theology and masters in divinity. That's my average client. And when I tell them how simple the magic formula is, they think I'm joking until it's demonstrated. And see, the challenge with the magic formula, this 3-minute blueprint, the magic formula is Dale Carnegie's program, tool, It's a 2-minute report. He calls it a 2-minute report. A 2-minute report using the magic formula. What's the magic formula? That's not super complicated. In fact, that magic formula has become the foundation of StoryPower. Everything we do at StoryPower Academy, from attitude hack to live a more excellent life to StoryPower itself, even at the StoryPower retreat, we teach, demonstrate, and rehearse together the StoryPower version of the magic formula. We do. And we do it over and over. And I'm now in almost 20 years of studying the magic formula and 15 years of teaching StoryPower the way that I do. It still works. It's still a foundation of what we do. And these highly intelligent, extremely educated, very articulate people with their degrees and all that, with their internal language that sounds like a doctrinal memo, they can't believe it at first. And some, because of their astute learning, look at the magic formula, they're like, that is way too basic. They look at the StoryPower method and they go, yeah, I'm kind of beyond that. I mean, I did Toastmasters like 30 years ago. I'm over it. Let me tell you something. I competed with Toastmasters in the World Championship of Public Speaking. And out of 35,000 contestants, I made it to the final 82. They don't teach what StoryPower method teaches. It's not in the book. It's not in there. And I don't mean that it's as vague as the magic formula was, or that I just can't catch it. It's like a speed bump. It's outrunning me. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, last time I went through any Toastmasters books, and I have about 50 of them, StoryPower method is not in there. The process is not in there. The expectation is not in there. And so if you say, well, I've been to Toastmasters, or I've been to XYZ training class, or I've learned how to do my elevator pitch, awesome. Good on you. You got a doctorate's degrees in bean counting. Awesome. Good on you. But if you've never studied the StoryPower method, then the StoryPower method is elusive to you. It's like a rabbit or a greased pig. It's going to get away. And you're probably going to think, what in the world do I need with that? Let me tell you. The StoryPower method encourages and equips leaders to use life stories from experiences of their own. I know you have all encountered that eloquent communicator who has a poem and 3 points, and they pull the book out and they look over the top and they read to you someone else's thoughts, and they sound brilliant. But they've never actually done it. And I don't just mean that from the sake of a leader who's learning to lead. All of us, when we're learning to lead, we probably should be looking at the books of mentors, of people who've gone before us and went, yeah, I wouldn't do it like that. That's going to blow up. Don't do that. It's going to blow up in your face. You're going to lose all your people. You're going to go bankrupt. I wouldn't do that. And maybe you need to skip back about 12 episodes and find the episode of Leading Leaders Podcast where we talked about the Bouncing Betty. The story of the Bouncing Betty is a lesson every leader should learn. That's a big deal. That's a tiny story, but it's a big deal. It's an enormous concept. And it's a concept that you will deal with in life as a leader every day. I'm not going to tell you the story here. I'm going to make you go look for it. And if you don't trust me to go back to Leading Leaders Podcast and find the story about the Bouncing Betty, then just go do some YouTube research on the Bouncing Betty. And then ask yourself, what is the metaphor in my life where the Bouncing Betty has applied? A Bouncing Betty, by the way, is not a little baby. It's not a kangaroo. It's not a basketball. Bouncing Betty is a whole different thing. Look it up. If you don't trust me, just look it up. See, there are these moments in time in the life of a leader where what they need to convey to the team is not just the data. It's not the stats. It's not the information. It's not, Here's what we did last quarter. Here's what we need to do next quarter. Here's what's going to happen if we don't. Here's the jobs that we're going to lay off. Yeah, all that is communication. All that is important, and all of that is necessary. And do you know how long that data stays in somebody's head? Long enough for them to send you an email and say, hey, can you send me that spreadsheet? Send you an email and go, oh, by the way, can I get a copy of your PowerPoint slides? Oh, remind me what book you read that in. That's how long that data stays in their head. But the minute you convert that data through the StoryPower method into a story that you can tell in 2 to 3 minutes following the StoryPower method blueprint, on the other side of that is a memory, an emotional attachment to a memory. And if that story, using the StoryPower method blueprint, is crafted meticulously, intentionally, the way that we teach, empower, and equip leaders to use them, the response to that story isn't just, oh, cool story, bro. No, it's, holy cow, I was moved by that story. I need to do something as a result of that story. And maybe it goes to the next level. And at the first opportunity, they come to you, they're like, you're not going to believe this. That story, same thing happened to me. Same place, same time, same cash register, same receipt, same checkout girl. Exactly the same thing happened to me. It was the little brunette on aisle 4. And when I came through, the guy paid it was incredible. I don't know why. But now they're telling you the same story you just told them, only it was their life. It was their experience. And now they didn't just hear you convey a good story. They're resonating with it, going, yeah. Your story, my story, same story. Now you've got a connection with them that goes way beyond. Again, tell me how many people we're going to have to lay off if we don't meet our goal. It goes way deeper than that. And it demonstrates that you're human. Now, some of the reluctance that I get at that level is, I don't want to tell people that much about me. I don't need them knowing all my secrets. I have a very private life. I walk out of here on Friday at 5 o'clock and you don't know who I am till Monday. I'm gone. I don't fish with people. I don't golf with people. I don't hang out with people. I don't go to church with people. I don't people. On weekends, I don't people at all. I clock out, I go home, I'm done. And when they want to live that kind of private life, I respect that. I get that. But at some point, you've got to realize as a leader, your assignment is other people. It's not about you. And when that becomes true in your own psyche, in your own self, then you realize that the way that you best help others is to connect with them. And even that connection is not about you. It's about them. Now, granted, some people get confused right there in that statement. I tell stories of experiences that I've had, but I craft those stories in such a way that other people hear me go, oh, yeah, me too. And let me tell you my story, because it's exactly the same. It's like, I can't believe that happened to you as well. But then we get to the third level of when that vulnerability and that story and that connection goes one step further and they go, I did exactly the same thing. I don't know how we both keep making the same mistake. And then I follow up and go, I used to do it all the time. I did it like this and it never worked right. And then I tried this. Made all the difference in the world. Wait, you tried what? Yeah. See, now we're at the third level of success in a great story, well-crafted, well-connected to your audience. That blueprint, that StoryPower method blueprint, takes an incident that may have taken you 5 years, or it may have taken you 5 seconds or 5 minutes. The light comes on. It's an aha moment. It's an explosion of neurons inside your brain, inside the chemistry of your heart, and you never forget that. Tony says you have a state, you have a story, then you have a strategy. And most people try to do that backwards. They don't get into a state where they're like, right, I'm connected. My heart and my mind are all in one place, and I'm driving and I'm vibing, and I feel like this is going to work. And then it does. And my emotional psyche is in an entirely different place. And now the story that I tell is like, well, it failed and it failed and it failed and it failed, and then, it worked. It's the coolest thing ever. And everybody gathered around that's hearing you. I don't care if it's 2 people at a dinner table or 2,000 in a company meeting. what happens is when you are vulnerable and honest about that story, about that failure, about that aha, about the secret to the success. Now the magic formula of that tight, concise story begins to settle in, and other people begin to go, wait, so you failed at that 10 times, but you're not failing at that anymore. No, I found the key. I found the thing that I was doing wrong. I found what I needed to do instead. And now I intentionally do the thing that I should be doing instead before I fail. Who'd have thought? What a brilliant idea. And if you'll stick with me for a minute, I'll tell you how you can do the thing that I should have done instead before you fail as well. In fact, my ideal scenario is that I interrupt your failure process soon enough that you don't even have to fail. That's the job of a good mentor. That's the job of a good leader. That's my assignment. I want to interrupt you between here and your next failure. To step into that space and go, hold on. Slow your roll for a second. Let me show you what I did differently in the same scenario. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't, but I can tell you it saved me a lot of money. It saved me a lot of time. I know for a fact that I have clients who have gone to other coaches, other mentors, other leaders, and asked them exactly the same question that they asked me. I know it for a fact. In fact, I know for a fact that it happened today. And the answer they got from the other leader was completely different, because the other leader has a different set of insights, a different parameter of expectations, a different past journey. I've been in and around broadcast media almost 30 years. I've watched a lot of people invest a lot of money to launch a podcast. And after $10,000 or $20,000 burn rate a month, they're gone in 90 days. I've also watched some that start off with a cell phone and they get just the right vein with just the right question at just the right time, and they Nick Shirley the world. And people look at this 20-something and they go, dude, how did that happen? I was in the right place at the right time. I asked the right question. I got the right answer. I got the answer the world wanted to know that nobody wanted anybody else to know about. Do I know a thing or two about media and broadcasts? Yeah. Have I made millions on podcasts? No. Why? It's not my goal, not my agenda. It's not my purpose. It's not about me. I podcast for you on the other side of that camera, on the other side of that screen, on the other side of the world. I do this so I can impact the quality of your life, so I can interrupt, so I can intercept, so I can interfere in your next failure. That's what I'm here for. And if I can do that by sharing a story of my own failure that eventually became a success, my own failure that I found the key that I kept screwing up. If I can tell you that kind of story and you can go, oh, well, I've been doing that too. Let me try that other thing. If I can save you years of your life, hours of heartache, tens of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or tens of millions of dollars, I can easily say I've spent well over $60,000 to accomplish what we've accomplished right now. I can also tell you, you probably could have done it faster. I can also tell you, for an absolute fact, there are people who have charged me money to teach me things I already knew better than they did. There are also people who've intentionally charged me money to teach me things that they knew were fractional when they taught it to me. They were only teaching me that you have to have chocolate and baking powder to make a cookie. Never mentioned the eggs until I made the nastiest cookies on the planet. And then they're like, oh, you forgot the eggs. No, you forgot the eggs. You didn't put the eggs in the original recipe. I can't do what you didn't tell me to do, but now you're failing me cookies because that's almost corrupt. It's almost criminal. But see, leaders who are reluctant to tell you about their own stories because they fear the vulnerability. Leaders who are reluctant to tell you their own story because they look at it and they go, it can't be that simple. With all the stuff that I've studied, there's no way that works. There's a whole series of videos. I haven't seen him lately, but whole series of videos, a guy probably in his late 30s, early 40s, watching a meme, stands up, he's like, you've been telling me for 40 years I've been doing this wrong. And then he'll go to the kitchen or the yard or the garage and he will do the thing that's in the meme. And most of the time he's like, I would have never known. One simple, so simple it's stupid simple. I grew up with my mother being a Tupperware salesperson. I had more Tupperware bowls with missing lids or lids that didn't fit any bowls that we owned than anybody I can possibly imagine. They were as random as the nuts and bolts my stepdad kept in the garage. It was only watching this guy who said, you've been telling me I've been doing this wrong for 40 years. It was only watching him within the last 6 months, maybe a year, that I watched him take a Tupperware bowl, turn it upside down, take the lid off, put the lid on the table like a plate and put his cheesecake on top of the lid and then snap the bowl on like a cover. Why did I wait so long to figure that out? Do you know how many times I ate smashed cheesecake? Because I'd put it in the bottom of the bowl and try to figure out how to get it out without flipping it upside down on the plate. The strawberries are everywhere. It doesn't even look like a cheesecake anymore. It looks like a little baby had an accident on my plate. Why didn't nobody teach me just put the slice of cheesecake on the lid and cover it with the bowl so it doesn't go stale or get smashed by anything else? That's not that complicated. That's so simple it's stupid. It wasn't in the manual. Mom didn't teach me that. I've been married 30 plus years. My wife didn't teach me that. Some dude on the internet taught me that. And apparently, he lived 40 years of his life before he knew it. There are going to be some things in your life as a leader that you look at and go, are you kidding me? It's been that simple all along. The StoryPower Method Blueprint is one of those things. I'm just telling you right now, if you will chill a little bit, slow your roll a little bit, come down off your high horse a little bit and learn that your experiences in life are like the lid for your cheesecake. It can be that simple, but you got to be able to articulate it. You got to be able to choose the right story, the right aha moment for your team, for your audience. Is it the board members? Is it the guys on the other side of the M&A? Is it the investor that you're trying to get to put some money on the table? Is it that customer that's always been a little bit difficult? I'm telling you, if you apply the StoryPower Blueprint, the StoryPower Method Blueprint, if you'll apply that, come up with a 2 to 3 minute story that follows that process. The first thing you're going to do is select a story that contains an aha moment. Nobody wants a boring story. Nobody cares. If you're going to tell me about your last golf outing or how you mow your yard, here's a John Candy moment for you. Do me a favor and have a point. Make it an illustration that other people can look at, a metaphor that causes the light to go on for them. Not just a story about what happened, but how's it relevant? I mean, did you own it or did you read that in a book? Is that a quote or a poem from somebody else? Or is it yours? Because if the lesson wasn't learned by you, you don't have any ownership to be telling it. You don't have any authority of saying, look, I'm just telling you, I did that. It was don't pee on the electric fence. Ask me how I know. You don't have to ask me. You should have been able to figure that out. That's simpler than cheesecake on the lid. I'm just saying. But sometimes it's those simple lessons that nobody else has figured out yet. Like, hey, go inside there and tell them you need some more blinker fluid. Okay. I don't know who's the bigger idiot, the one who would abuse a friend like that or the one who would buy into it and go ask for blinker fluid. It really is that simple. You've got to be willing to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be transparent, to tell stories that might say a little something about your past, might say a little something about your mistakes, about your bad decisions, about the errors in your game. But I'll tell you something. When you're vulnerable like that, you can build know, like, and trust in a hot minute. And you can get to that third level really fast. They hear your story. They're like, oh, that was a cool story, dude. I kind of felt like I was right there with you. Oh, dude, my story is just the same as that. Let me tell you what happened to me, because you're not going to believe how similar they are. And my story is just like yours, third level. My story is just like yours, but sounds to me like you're not repeating that error anymore. You have a solution, a secret, some advice, a tip. Right? You watch the guy that walks around all the time, sticks his camera or his microphone in the face of people that he sees climbing out of a Bentley or a Rolls or something, and he says, how did you get rich? And some of them are like, you talking to me? And some are like, oh yeah, I did this and I did this and I did this. And he always asks the same question. What's the secret? As a young entrepreneur, I want to be very wealthy. How do I get there? You know what none of them ever say? Well, look at the spreadsheet and follow the numbers. And on tab 7, row 6, column A, you'll find. No, none of them do that. But they tell a story about how they succeeded. Many of them. I've seen Mr. Wonderful on that same little interviews. The guy asked him, how'd you get rich? And he gave him a couple of answers. I've seen Robert, I can't even say his last name, answer the same questions for the same kid. It's like, how did you get rich? And he's like, well, I didn't start off rich. Well, your family had money. No, my family were immigrants with nothing. But we never stopped working hard. We lived like this, and then we did this, and then we made this, and then this opportunity came up, and we stepped into it. See, those stories, those tracks, those paths, it's really easy to look at those and go, yeah, those are the rag to riches stories. Of course, everybody loves those, but we forget that in our own life, we have those moments that if we hadn't made that change then, our life today would be an absolute disaster, or might even be over. As leaders, we've got to be willing to apply that StoryPower method blueprint. That, can you tell a story in 3 minutes or less? Can you put the right content in it so that people go, I need to do that? If you can change the world. One story at a time. You can change your brand. You can change your culture. You can change your employees. You can empower people you barely know. One little 3-minute magic formula story at a time. I challenge you to do that. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't know how to do that, I wish I did. Look, I do one-on-one VIP coaching. We can sit in the quiet of your office or on a Zoom call, and I will walk you through the process. Probably going to take a minimum of 90 days for you just to get past, it can't be that simple. But when you do, you're going to be like, oh, now I get it. And then I'll teach you how to do it, and you'll have that pattern down. But a real easy start, for less than a vacation trip, you can jump into the StoryPower 6 weeks done with you course. 6 weeks of training, basically an hour worth of watch a video and do some homework, and then a 2-hour group coaching call where we all get on together. We kind of practice those stories together and we apply the principles of the blueprint. It's a really good place for you to invest your time and a very small amount of money to get the kind of results you're going to get out of it. It's an invitation open to anybody. Go to StoryPowerAcademy.com and look for that little button that says Boost Your Business with StoryPower. Click on that button, sign up for the next class. I think the next one starts in August. 6 weeks, starting August 4th. Jump in. It's a good place for you to be. It's going to change your business. Probably going to change your life. Might even change your marriage. Just saying. I'm Jay Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, or Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Think storytelling's just for bedtime? Nah, it's the secret sauce for business magic. Stuck in a rut with bland pitches and yawning clients? Enter Boost Your Business with StoryPower. 6 weeks of epic storytelling training. It's like leveling up in a video game but for your career. Master the art of narrative and watch connections blossom like a viral TikTok. Simple, impactful, and game-changing. Ready to transform your biz vibes? Dive in now and make storytelling your superpower.
This 6 weeks guided program is specifically designed for those people who say, I know I need to tell stories. I need to tell better stories because the ones I have are boring or they're not getting across. Or as John Maxwell says, everyone communicates and, well, few connect. Now, as a participant in this course, what I would really love to know from you, put it in the discussion on the course if you're already registered online. Send me a chat, send me a DM, send me a text, send me an email. I'd really love to know what you hope to get out of this course. Now, I can tell you what we're going to discuss, and I can tell you what I plan to teach and train you on, and I can tell you even what we plan to discuss each week on the calls for the next 6 weeks. I'm going to go over all of that for you in just a moment. I can also tell you that my clients who get the greatest success are the ones who apply the StoryPower process to their business development to increase their impact, their influence, and their income. Now, the StoryPower process includes story mining, story selection, story qualification, story crafting, connecting with your audience, and leading the narrative. And if you leave any one of those parts out, you're going to find that, well, you're just not as effective as you want to be. You're not going to grow your business to the same level. You're not going to lead with impact and influence like you hope to. I can also tell you that the people who apply these things, well, they're not failing in their business. The reason a lot of people fail in their business is they continue to fail to connect the solution they offer with the problem that their clients have. The pain and the solution never come together. And a lot of that failure is because they're not clearly articulating how their solution solves someone else's problem. It comes down to a question something like this: who do you help and how? Yes, that's one of the first things we're going to discuss over the next 6 weeks of Boost Your Business with StoryPower.
Master the StoryPower method to captivate your audience, improve workplace culture, and 10x your fundraising.
Scan the QR code to book your first coaching call or visit StoryPowerCoach.com.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith,